Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you a look at Schuberth S3 helmet. Schuberth was nice enough to send this to me to review for you guys. This is going to be the initial review of my initial riding impressions and an overview of the helmet. I'm also going to do a one-year follow-up, so if that's something you're interested in, now would be the time to consider subscribing. So this is the Schuberth S3. This comes in plain with no graphics at $599, and with graphics it comes in at $699. This is going to be a very competitive helmet. It's priced slightly under Shoei. We can get into that comparison. The graphics on this are hand laid. This is the Storm Orange. Absolutely love the look of this helmet. They have, like I said, they have various different colors. I fell in love with this, and this is the color I went with. So let's get into the specs of the helmet. The helmet is a dot rated helmet. It's going to come at 1,610 grams for the non-accessorized version. With the accessories, it's going to come at 1,640. It's going to have, the difference for that is going to be the built-in comm unit. This is their SC2 that they were nice enough to send me to evaluate with this. This is a fiberglass shell that is carbon fiber reinforced for strength and weight. It is an extremely lightweight helmet. It's very popular in the, like I said, in the touring market, and you're going to see why in a little bit. So Schuberth rates this at 85 decibels on a naked sport bike at 65 miles an hour. So basically, without going through the scientific mumbo jumbo, from what I understand, that's basically a loud traffic environment, and it's certainly right under the threshold of what's going to allow you to ride without earplugs all day, and your ears are going to stay underneath that sound rating that's considered safe for your ears. Helmet does come with a Pinlock 120 pre-installed in the visor. If you're not familiar with the Pinlock 120, that's going to give you 2 minutes of protection against fogging if you're stopped at a light or so forth. Doesn't mean at that 2-minute mark it's going to start fogging, but that's when potentially fog could be introduced to the helmet. I thought it was great. I have to say, this helmet is so well engineered, and it's the little details that I think are great. This shield is probably one of the most optically clear shields on the market, as well as the Pinlock. Really impressive, and I'll get to that more in a bit. So what you're going to have here that makes this helmet so quiet is you're going to have this very tight neck roll. Now I can assure you that your head will fit. I run a size medium. This is a medium helmet, and I will tell you, the first time you try it on out of the box, you will think there is no way on God's green earth your head's going to fit in here, but I assure you it does. It is a very nice seal against your neck because that's where all the sound's going to be coming in. So you're going to get sound here, and you're going to that's going to block the sound, and you're going to have the chin curtain to block the sound as well. It's going to have the ratchet buckle, as you normally see with a lot of these touring helmets. And also what I thought was cool is the covers that prevent it from rubbing on your chin have Velcro, so you can kind of lock that in before you lock in the straps, which I thought was really cool. The other neat thing about this helmet, it would be kind of hard to show you, but I can put a link up for, they can show you their stock photos. If you look, and it would be very hard to see, but there's actually a filter that's exchangeable that's in this front vent. So you're going to have two vents here. You're going to have your traditional drop-down vent. You're also going to have this second vent. I found that it flowed a lot of air. Not only does this top one push air to the top of the visor, so it's keeping it from fogging up, but you're also going to have this vent here where the air is going to be coming directly to you. So you're going to have airflow coming to your face, as well as up on your to your cheeks and so forth. These are both independent, so you can open and close these as you want. It's a singular, you can, realistically, it's probably a single position, but you can sort of find the middle ground for that if you don't want to have it all the way open. They work really well. The detents are solid. It doesn't have a lot of detents, so if you want to drop it down, you can, but you're going to, it's going to go fully, and then you can sort of adjust it on your own. I found with gloves, it was a little hard at times to get that really fine adjustment, but it's not a showstopper. It wasn't anything that I found difficult. Shield's going to have two levers, or two handles on the side here to flip the screen up. So you're going to be able to pop it up from either side. I really like that. It ratchets it down. The detents of this helmet are firm. They lock into position really well. It's really nice because it seals really well, and that brings the sound environment that you're riding in down. The other thing you're going to have here is you're going to have a 2-position top vent. So it's going to be closed, going to be 1 open and 2 open. Allows for an extreme amount of airflow through the helmet. And like I said, you can definitely tell this is a well-made, lightweight helmet. It's based more for the sport touring market. I ride, if you're not familiar with the channel, I ride a Harley-Davidson Road Glide Limited. Even with my high touring shield on it or my low shield, the airflow was definitely great. I didn't have any head buffeting even at highway speeds. So the helmet is very stable and it's very lightweight. So one of the things that Schuberth did that I thought was really cool, because they do have this integrated comm system that you can buy, and we'll get into that in a minute. They have speakers in the side already pre-installed, as well as a microphone already pre-installed. If you didn't know they were in this helmet when you picked it up, you would not know they're there. The microphone is recessed into the front, and the speakers are very well recessed, giving you a lot of ear room. Sometimes if you use an aftermarket headset, depending on the headset, if you have the larger speakers, they tend to rub on your ears. These, you couldn't even tell they were in there. You have a lot of room for your ears in the, we'll call it the ear wells, because I don't know what it's actually called. So again, it really brings into that comfort. So you have the speakers that are built in, the microphone built in. It has an antenna for FM radio, for Bluetooth, and also for mesh. It's all built into the helmet itself. So they've put, like I said, a lot of engineering into this helmet, and it's a great value for its money. It's a lot of streamlining here. It's a quiet helmet. It's designed to have that really nice flow through the air. The system that it has is the SC2. This is a proprietary system from Schuberth. So you have this control here, and then you have this little module that pops in the back. Very simple to do. It's plug and play. When you drop that in, the helmet is wired and you're ready to go. This is going to be based on the Sena 50S system. That's a system that I run on my Road Glide. I've never had any problems with it. It's a solid system. It works well. If you're familiar with Sena, it does have an app that allows you to play your music, set up your comms and so forth, which I think is pretty cool too. The other thing I wanted to say about this helmet that I really like is the vents here, like I said earlier, have a lot of airflow coming through them. So it's a really well-designed helmet. I know I'm beating that to death, but it really is. The one thing I do want to say before we get into the riding experience, Schuberths are a different size helmet. So this is a medium, this is a 59, I believe, millimeters around. A lot of like a helmet like a Shoei, HJC, a lot of those helmets have a range. So I'm between a medium and a large. So this is the 59. I went to Revzilla to get fitted. This is going to be a helmet that you definitely want to make sure that you're fitted properly, because if it fits nice and tight the way it should be, it's going to lead to that better experience with the helmet being quiet for touring. And with Revzilla, if you go down to Revzilla to the Philadelphia showroom, say hi to my buddy Gerald to pop a picture up here. Gerald was fantastic. He spent the time to show me the Schuberth line, let me try on some helmets, sized me, sized my son as well for his helmet. And we had a chance, like I said, to really try out the line. I had a chance to try out their modular helmets, as well as this helmet, to really see what fit me. So that's going to be the most important thing, is get sized. I can't stress that enough. No matter what manufacturer you buy, helmet is only at its safest is when you're sized properly, and it's going to give you a better ride experience because you're not going to be having all that noise. So now let's get into the fun part and get into the riding experience. So this helmet is extremely lightweight. A lot of people will tell you you can't feel the weight to various helmets, and I think that that's true. You're not going to notice a slight change, but I found this helmet to feel extremely light. I don't know if it's because of the aerodynamics. I really can't explain why it feels so light, but it does. You're doing any sort of shoulder checks, lane checks. I didn't feel the weight, and it certainly didn't disturb the air when I turned my head left or right. So the helmet, like I said, is very well aerodynamically built. The airflow of this helmet is fantastic. It's also, not only does it have this airflow from the top here, the bottom, you've got the nice big vent in the back. You've got a lot of airflow coming through. I wore this on a hot day, on a lighter boot of a cool day. It's still summer here in New Jersey. But the one thing I noticed during the experience of riding this in a very humid day was it kept me cool. And there was no need, I didn't feel like the constant need to open up the visor. I tend to ride with my visor open. Kids, don't try that at home. But I tend to ride with my visor open because I get hot really easy. I didn't feel the need for that. And speaking of the visor, this visor, hands down, is the most optically clear visor I've ever used. I'm a video nerd, so just bear that in mind. But it was very hard at times to know that I had the shield down. There were a couple times I reached up for to grab the shield to put it down, only to realize it was already down. The combination of that and the pin lock, I'm extremely impressed with the clarity of it. You're also going to have a complete, I would say almost completely out of vision pin lock. Nothing drives me more crazy with the helmet is when you can start seeing the pin lock in your peripheral. As from a safety rating, it's not good, but it just annoys me after a while. It's a personal preference. The nice part too with the pin lock is it goes all the way up, all the way down, and all the way into the back of your peripheral so you're not distracted. So kudos to Schuberth for designing that. I thought that was a really nice upgrade. You're also going to have what you would expect at this price point. You're going to have the drop-down sun visor. You can access it here. One thing I did like with the sun visor is I'm not a fan of drop-down sun visors as a rule. There's very little play in this sun visor when it drops down compared to other brands that I've tried, so I really like that. Not only that, it comes down almost to the point where it's level. You can see here. It's not quite all the way down to the point where you can't see it, but it comes down considerably more than other helmets that I've tried. So kudos to them for that as well. The comm system works fantastic. I really did like the comm system. It's clear, it's loud at any speed. I was able to use Siri to control the audio from my phone to raise the music, make phone calls, and so forth. You can use the buttons as well if you don't want to go hands-free. I personally think hands-free is a better option, but that's just me. The other thing that I really like too with this helmet is it just gives a different experience. It's extremely quiet and extremely lightweight. After a day of riding, you don't feel that pain on your neck. And it's very unique too because of the filtration in the front. And I'm assuming that's what did it. I'm not a scientist, nor did I still stay at a Holiday Inn last night. The filter seems to break up the air. So when the air is coming through the helmet, it seems to disturb it a little bit. So you're not getting that zhuzh, that whooshing sound that you get of air. It seemed to break it up, and the air wasn't as noisy. It still had a tremendous amount of airflow, but the airflow didn't seem as forced. You see that in a lot of cheaper helmets where if you get a lot of airflow, it's kind of blasting on you. It felt like through the entire inside of the helmet, I was getting proper ventilation, and I thought that was really great. Like I said, this is the only model that they make in a standard helmet. They do make a modular helmet if you want to check that out. Really nice design. They have a lot of new paint schemes coming out for this helmet as well as their modular lineup. Hoping to get my hands on one of the modulars to give you a comparison of how that ranks with the Neotec that I run and other helmets that are on the market that I've tried. Like I said, they're really known for their modulars, so this is a little bit out of spec for them as far as their helmets, as opposed to a Shoei that makes one modular and all fixed helmets. So I think they've done a really good job with this helmet, but there are a couple call outs that I really wanted to bring out. Some of these are a showstopper. I wouldn't say a showstopper. Some of these were a personal complaint for the bike that I ride. If you don't ride a Harley-Davidson with a WIM system, you will never experience this issue. Because I have a Harley-Davidson with a WIM, if you're not familiar with the WIM, the comms of the helmet hook up directly to the WIM, and that allows you to use all the controls for the bike. The problem with that is, and again, this only is limited to Harley-Davidsons with boom systems. Because this is not a Harley-Davidson branded, Harley-Davidson flashed software in this, you only get mono and you cannot control it with the hand controls. So that is it's kind of a deal breaker in the sense of what I was hoping for me personally. So if you have a Harley WIM system, this is not going to work with that. Now, realistically, not many people do, but I did want to call that to your attention. This is basically, I said, on the Sena 50S, so the sound quality is great. I actually had no problem at all without running the boom system. That putting this just in the Sena unit attached to my phone, like I said, I had no problem getting directions, talking to my buddies on Bluetooth if they didn't have a Sena unit, or mesh if they did have a Sena unit. Sound quality was great. The app works really well because you can adjust your groups, whether they're open mesh, closed meshed, sound, and so forth. So that was a really good experience. I really like that. I'm used to running my 50S that's mated to the system, if you will. I have talked to a bunch of other riders that do not run Harley-Davidsons or do not run Harley-Davidsons with boom systems. They've had zero issues, so I know it works with the BMWs and other brands to allow it to connect with their comms. But if you're a Harley rider, you know that, well, you pay the Harley tax. What are you gonna do? The only call out that I had with this helmet, besides that really small nuance that's probably not even going to affect you because you put your phone either on your handlebars or you don't ride a Harley. The other thing that I thought, and this is just a minor call out, in this price point, I felt like the controls here were just a little bit, I don't want to say flimsy. They didn't feel quite as solid as other helmets that I've tried. They function fine. I had no problem operating them with gloves, but they didn't feel quite as premium as I would expected. But it's a minor thing. I'm really nitpicking to find a flaw with this helmet, to be honest. But up here, the detents are solid. Like I said, the only real thing I had to nitpick was just these controls here. They could just feel a little bit more solid. But I also think, and I don't know this for a fact, but my impression is that all this is done to make the helmet slightly lighter. So all those things add up. I mean, from a recommendation standpoint, I think it's a fantastic lid. I like running fixed face as well as modular, kind of a helmet junkie. From the helmets that I've tried, whether it be, this Schuberth, Shoei, Arai, all those helmets, this certainly has to come in as one of the top quietest helmets with the best ventilation. I would argue it's probably a little bit more ventilation than the Neotec 3 that I run as my modular. It certainly has more ventilation than that as far as the even flow, but I don't think it quite has the ventilation of the Neotec 2. Again, we're really splitting hairs because air is subjective and ventilation is subjective, as well as sound. I will say, if you look at other reviews, everybody seems to say the same thing. It's quiet, it's lightweight, it performs. So, I mean, from that standpoint, I absolutely do recommend the helmet. I'm in a position where I can wear a modular and a fixed face, so it's nice to be able to switch around and have that different experience. From a fixed, whatever you want to call it, helmet, this is hands down the best helmet I've tried to date. The optical clarity, the sound levels are quiet, and the ventilation's good. Again, sound is subjective. The weight, airflow is subjective, so I definitely recommend that you try one out and see for yourself. The other thing I want to make sure, and I can't beat to death enough, is make sure you get sized properly. I am a medium in Shoei, and this is a large in Schuberth. So just make sure you're not basing it just on that. Get measured, go to a place like Revzo or a reputable dealer and get measured properly. It's going to keep you safer as well. It's really all I had. To be interested to let me know if you're running a Schuberth, what your experience has been with this helmet, what you think. What do you think about the built-in comm system? When I say the comm system comes in for about $300, it's a great value for the money, especially with it being plug and play. You just pop everything in, no wires to run. Kind of rambled on enough, so we're going to wrap this video up. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be doing more gear reviews and kind of exploring that, whether it's jackets, gloves, boots, and helmets, to really just sort of give you an experience of things that I like. So hopefully I can get my hands on the Schuberth modular as well for you guys. That's really all I had to it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please remember, you're not alone.